Hello guys, so in this video I'm going to do a Python crash course where we are going to be covering topics like variables and data types, operators, if statements, loops, lists, tuples, dictionaries, functions, classes, inheritance, exception handling, and also modules. So this tutorial is for someone who is familiar with programming languages such as C, Java, C#, and you are trying to start learning Python. Okay, so let's start with variables and data types. In Python, our variables, you don't declare and initialize, you just initialize variables. For example, I want to create a variable that is going to store a name, so I can just say name is equals to Python. So this is a variable. So a variable is storing this value is being stored in a variable called name. So if I want to store a number like an age is equals to 28, so that's how you do it. So in Python, you also don't terminate like in C. We used to put a semicolon. You can put a semicolon in Python. You also don't put like variable data type name like int age. The same thing we do in Java. We don't do that, or JavaScript or C# or anything. You don't declare the data types of the variables, because Python, it uses what is called type inference, when it kind of like figure out what the data type is on its own. Okay, so if you want to print that name, we just say print and then write the variable name. So here I already have Python installed in my PC, so I'm just going to call using py. So I'm using a console in VS Code. So py main.py, that's how I run my file. So you can see that the output is Python. So print is a function that is used to print out onto the console. So here I have output, which is Python here. Okay, let's say we want to print something like my name is and I am this years old. Okay, so we want to mix some text with variables, so we use what is called string interpolation. So you have to put an F here, then you open quotes inside print and say my name is, and then you put these curly brackets and you write the name of the variable name, and I am age years old. Okay, so these are placeholders. On name is going to print Python, and on age is going to print age. So let's put a name, maybe like John, Chimoto or something like that. So that's the name of this guy. And when you run our Python file, you can see the output here. My name is John Jimuti and I am 28 years old. So our placeholders, they worked. Excuse me. So that's how we mix our variables with some text. It's called string interpolation. Okay, so let's look at data types that we have. So when you want to comment in Python, we use hash to comment like this. Okay, let me just write something like data types. So that's a comment. Or you can use my multiple comments. When you put 3 lines like this, say this is a multi-line comment. And so that's how we comment in Python. Use those 2 ways. You don't put these ones as you do in Java, or to put something like this. So you won't comment like that. Okay, so having done that, data types, we have integers. For example, age is equals to 29. That's an integer data type. We have strings like name is equals to Tsitsi, Chimuti. This one is now a string. Now string, you can wrap them around single quotes or double quotes, right? We also have decimals or floats, things like balance is equals to 2.28. This is now called a float. We have Boolean values. Boolean values, things like maybe status. So what is the status of something? Is it true or false? So if true, then we also have a false value. So booleans, they only have two values, true or false. Just make sure that the typing, the true or the false, it is always a capital letter. It always starts with a capital letter. So this is also a boolean value. So I've talked about strings, floats, and booleans. Yeah, we also have lists, but I don't want to cover them right now. I'm going to have a section where I just focus on lists. Okay, so from there, these are some of the data types that we have. So we'll be able to work with strings, numbers, and also floats and also boolean values. Now let's talk about operators. Operators, you can do quite a number of operations. For example, you can add, you can subtract. So I'm going to comment this. I can comment this out. Okay. All right, that's okay now. So let's say I have two variables, like num1 is equals to 12 and I have num2 is equals to 10. Now we can add these variables, like maybe result is equals to num1 plus num2, and then I print what? Hey, I want it to go down. Result, I want to print result, then okay, I don't know how I open this thing. So as you can see, it's 22. 12 plus 10 is 22. That's my output here. Okay, we can also subtract variables. So maybe something like num1 minus num2, then we print out the result. Let's see, expecting what? A 2, right? Because num1 is 12 minus 10, that's 2. So this is the answer here. We can also multiply. You put in asterisk to multiply, so we're getting something like 120. Sure. Okay, 120. Then we can divide. Now division, you use this /. So by default, dividing always gives you your number, your answer in this format. It's a float, like 1.2. Even if the answer is a whole number, it always gets it doesn't come as a whole number. It comes as a decimal. So if you want to force your answer to become an integer, maybe you want to drop the decimal part of the answer, you use 2 /. So as you can see, instead of 1.2, our answer is now 1. Now there's also modulus, which gives us the remainder. So if I say num1 modulus 2, you're just saying want the remainder of dividing 12 by 10, which is 2, I guess. As you can see, our answer is 2 here. You can also come up with the num1 to the power num2, which is 12 to the power of 10, right? I don't know what it is, but it's a big number. As you can see, it's 619 blah 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 blah. So that's it. So these are some of the operations that we have. These are called arithmetic operations. They are very common in most programming languages. So I'm gonna comment this out. Let's talk about logical operators. Logical operators, and also comparison operators. So they are operators which results in true or false. Yes. Okay. For example, if I say 2 less than 5, like 4, right? The answer here is either true or false. So these are called comparison operators, right? So we have the greater than sign. We also have the less than sign. We also have the less than greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, right? We also have the less than or equal to. We also have the, okay, these are the major comparison operators that we have. We'll use them when we are doing my if statements. The logical operators, these are now the AND and OR. If you've done some Boolean mathematics like 1 and 1, which is 1 and 0, 0, those things. So we also have them in Python, like 1 and 1. You can see that it's blue to show that AND is a reserved keyword. There's also 1 or, oh, that's not a 1 or 1. Listen. So 1 and 1, the answer is 1. 1 or 1, the answer is 1 as well. 1 and 0, 0, 1 or 0, 1. Okay. So those are logical operators. So having looked at that, we are now moving on to if statements. If statements, they are used in your code to make decisions. For example, we're creating a site and we just need people who are above 18 years. So we're going to capture the age of this guy. Maybe age is 17, and we only want 18 years and above. So we have to check the age. So if the age is greater than 18, then print out that you are allowed. So you see, we have used the comparison operator. So the if statement, it only runs when the condition is true, right? Like if the age is actually above 18, then this code will run. Now if you are familiar with other programming languages like C, you would normally write the if statement like if age is greater than 18 or 18, then you put the curly brackets, and everything inside the curly brackets will run when the condition is true, right? So this is not how you do it. Now the code that belongs to the if statement, it is indented. So this is the word indented. The code is indented, so which means that if a piece of code is pushed further away from the if block, it means that it belongs to the if statement. So you see, this print is part of the if. Why? Because it's indented or it's pushed away from the if, right? There's a space here. And also you don't put curly brackets, but you put these columns to show the then. If then, run this code. If it's true, run this code. If it's not true, we need an else, right? If the age is not above 18, we have an else statement. So else does not have a condition. Print something like you are too young, you're not allowed. you are too young, something like that, right? So let's run the code and see. Since this guy is less than 18, we need something like you are too young. So what if this person is now 19 years, 2 years later? Our output is going to be something like you are allowed. Yeah, see, you are allowed. So execution depends on the result of this condition. If it's true, this code runs. If it's not true, this code runs. The you are too young code. Okay, we also have what if we have multiple conditions? Let's say we want to print the marks or the grades of the student. Excuse me. If something like if mark, okay, let's declare the mark is equals to 67. So we want to say, what is it, an A, a B, a C, or D? So if the mark is I'm gonna look at this, my less than, if this mark is less than 40, so if you're using the Zimse grading system, this one is a U. Your grade is a U. Else if here it's a leaf. Else if the mark is less than 50. So if the mark is less than 50, it means that it's between 40 and 50, right? So if it's less than 50, we're gonna print that it's this one is now a D. So a leaf again. So use the elif when you have multiple conditions. Here we print that it's a C, right? Elif, then double B. Elif mark is less than 70. Print the B. Elif mark is less than what? 100. Then we're gonna print that it's an A. I hope I didn't skip anything. So if you run this code, since this guy is 67, it's a B. Okay, I'm supposed to put a semicolon here. Okay, so let us try this again. Yeah, we get a B because 67 is within this range. It's less than 670, but it's also above 60, so it's a B. Okay, so this is when you have multiple conditions, but you must always end up with an else statement, like else if it does not fulfill this range, same unknown, something like an unknown grade, right? Maybe someone inserted a mark of -5, that's an unknown grade, or something above 100. It needs to print whatever is in the else statement. Okay, so at the end of the if statement, let's go to the loops. So loops, they are used to print something over and over and over and over again. Maybe you want to count from 0 to 10. So let's do that. Let's say for number in range of 10, we are gonna print number plus 1, right? So to run this code, as you can see, so it counted. I hope you saw that. You see? Yeah, you see those numbers. 9, 8, 9, 10. So it started from 1. It started from 1 to 10, right? Okay, let's see again like this. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. So if I move a little bit higher, you can always see that. Okay, so I'm gonna explain the range the range statement just a little bit. So the range is used to create a series of numbers from 0 to 10, right? Or 0 to 10, but the 10 is excluded, so it's 0 to 9. So 0 to 9, these are 10 numbers. Now I have to use a number plus 1 to make sure that it starts from 1 to 10, right? Okay, so that's a typical for statement. You also use these ones. There's also a while statement, a while loop. So while loop, it needs what is called an initializer, for something like num is equals to 0, and then you say while num is less than 10. If num is less than 10, we're going to print, we want to print that num. Now if I have to put my own increment where I say num is equals to num plus 1, right? So I'm increasing my num by 1 so that it counts. So as you can see, as I've run the code, you can see it's 2, 3, 4, it runs the same code, right? So that's a while statement there. Now I'm going to, I hope you guys understood this. I'm going to talk about lists. Now a list is a collection of items, for example a collection of names, a collection of numbers. So let's say a collection of names like students is you put these brackets. We have Martin as a student, we have Adrian is a student, we have Melissa as a student, we have Caster is a student. So this is our student that we have, and we want to just print them out. So we're going to use a loop. So we're going to say for student in the list called students, right? So let's print the student. So this is the code that is going to print each student that we have, as you can see right now. What I didn't save is that song. I'm not sure. Yeah, Martin, Adrian, Melissa, and Caster. So I said it printed out every student. So that's the, so loops, they can go well with the lists, because you can use a loop to print out everything that is inside a list. Okay, so you can use lists to, what if I just want to print the name of Martin? Each name belongs in an index. So Martin is an index 0, Adrian index 1, 2, 3. So we have indexes. So index 0, 1, 2, 3. We also have index starting from this, the last item. So Caster is on index -1. So -1, -2, -3, -4. So if I want to print Caster, I can say print students on index -1. So I want to get the last student, that's -1. So you can see right now that the output is, what's going on, syntax error, invalid. It's like it's saved before. I don't know what this code is doing. It's really misbehaving. Okay, you can see the output is Caster. So I am printing the -1 item, which is Caster. If I want to print the first element, we know it's on index 0. So if I save the run the code, I'm gonna get the first element, which is Martin. You can also change, right? Like I want to change the first element, like print, like sorry, like students at index 0. Maybe this student is not replaced by Tapua. So if I then print students, right? Yeah, you can also do this in Python, like you can print the whole list, right? And doesn't give you an error. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so you can see that when I printed the wall, it's not a pure Adrian Melissa, so Martin is replaced. This is possible because lists are mutable, right? We say that lists, they are mutable, they can be changed. That's what it means, they are mutable. So we're going to talk about a similar data structure but which is not mutable. This data structure is immutable, so they are called tuples. They are called tuples, like this. So tuples, you can have a tuple of names again, tuples, like, and then you put this kind of brackets like Adrian, Martin, Lissetti, something like that. Now these are tuples. Now we can print the whole thing, like print all students, right? Something like that. As you can see, print student. So it's taking time to save. There's an inconsistent that is going on. Okay, so you can say Adrian, Martin, and Lissetti. So these are the tuples that we have. You can also loop them using a for loop, like we did with the list. Okay, so tuples also have dictionaries. They are also similar data structures. Like I have a dictionary of students where we put this kind of brackets. So not students rather, but a particular student, but we want to capture multiple information, like we want the name of the student, right? So name maybe is equals to Adrian, and we want the age of the student, right? Like maybe 28. Maybe we want the address, the physical address, email, phone number, all those things, like a 17 Robert Mugabe, 70 Robert Mugabe Road, right? So this is now called a dictionary. Now you can have an array of dictionaries or a list of dictionaries, but you cannot have a dictionary of dictionaries, right? Okay, so you can look through it, you can do whatever that you want. Okay, so for example, let's print the student's name. So it says student, you put this and then you reference the key name. So this is called a key. Name is a key, age is a key, address is a key, and then what's on the right are called values. Adrian is a value, 28 is a value, 70 Robert Mugabe is a value, right? So when you want to print out a certain key value, you just say student and then you set the key here, and then you give it the name, which is Adrian. That's the name. If you change name to age, it will give you 28, right? Okay, so those are dictionaries in Python. They are very useful. Remember those. Like I said, you can have a list of dictionaries, but you cannot have a dictionary of dictionaries. So if you want multiple students, you have to put them in a list. That's what I mean. Let's talk about functions. Functions, they are used to group code to go together. They can be used over and over again. For example, what a function may be to add two numbers, like add, it takes the first number, num1, it also takes num2. So these are called parameters, and our result is equals to num1 plus num2, right? And maybe we should print the result and put a text like the sum of these numbers, this one, right? So maybe I should do this. I should say also this sum of num1 and remember we took our placeholders before is result, right? Okay. This is beautiful. So this function definition. Now I want to call the function. Just say add 3 and 5, right? So what I'm expecting, so 3 and 5, 3 is now going to num1, 5 is going to num2, so we're going to add them together, we get 8, and it prints out the message the sum of 3 and 5 is 8. Okay, let's see if that works. Yeah, it did work. As you can see here, the sum of 3 and 5 is 8. So if I change these numbers, the output is also going to change beautifully, right? For example, if it's now 750, now I'm expecting what? Expecting 757. Yeah, the sum of 750 is 57, right? So it's now a calculator. So you can use this function as many times as you want, right? Okay. Now let's you can also put default values if you are not sure if the user is going to give you the numbers you're requiring. You can put default values so that this function can be called without the arguments, right? Something like that, like this. So if I call, I'm gonna get 0 because I didn't pass any parameters, so the code is going to use this default values that the sum of 0 is 0, 100. If I put some numbers, the default values will not be used. It will use these numbers that I added here, right? Okay, so let me talk about classes. So Python is also object oriented, so you can create classes using something like this, like class student, right? And then you have what is called a constructor. In Python, a constructor is declared using this init function or the init method, like self. So maybe we want to initialize a name and maybe an age. So what we do there is that we then say self. So instead of using the keyword this, we use self. So self.name is equals to name, right? And also self.age is equals to age. You can have also other methods, like maybe it's we are doing a student portal, so our students should log in, log out and log in. But the trick is that you must always put this self parameter. You must always put this self parameter in every method that you declare, right? You can also have a def login. Don't forget the self print. So this is logged in. We are supposed to say logged out. So that's where you'll write the logic to log someone in, and also you will write the logic to log someone out. So again, you have as many functions as you want inside your class. Now, how do you create a student object? So I'm coming out of the class, then I say student is now my object name. I'm going to call this student, and to show that it's an object, I write the name of the class and I put this bracket. I need to pass the name, so I'm gonna pass Alan, which is my name by the way, and my age is 25. Okay, so I should have called this student class. They don't need to be plural. Is there a blueprint of an object? They don't need to be plural. Okay, so student is equals to student Alan in 25. So if I run the code now, if I want to, maybe I want to log out, I'll then just say student dot logout, right? If I want to log in, I'll just say student dot log. So if I run this, I'm expecting those two words, logged out and logged in. Okay, so those are classes. and I'm going to talk about exception handling. Exception handling. Okay, now exception handling. Exceptions, these are errors that occur when the code is running. So they are due to okay, they are due to what can I say, you know, the input that the user gives us. For example, we are requiring, someone says print name. Okay, look at this code, print name. There's no variable called name, and then we run this code, there's going to be an error, right? And the error is saying name is not defined. So the kind of error is called a name error. So name error, that's an exception. So we don't want this kind of response, right, or of feedback. We want to handle this error. We use what are called exceptions, right? Another type of errors are maybe division by 0. For example, say 9 divided by 0. They are also called exception. So if I run this code, you can see I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get an error. Okay, let me run it. My code is taking time to save. You can see 0 division error, division by 0, right? So we want to handle this. How do we handle this kind of errors? You put a try block, say try, print name, try print name. Then you say except, and then you state the error you're handling. You're handling a name error. So if a name error, okay, instead of the code breaking, you want to print like variable undefined, something like that, right? So that's how you handle this kind of errors. Let's see, variable undefined, you can see the error here, right? Yeah. Okay, what if there's a 0 division error? I'm just going to change 0 to that's like 9 divided by 0. It's a 0 division error. So what I'm now handling, I'm handling the 0 division error enter with 0 division not allowed, or division by 0 not allowed, something like that. Okay, so let's run it. 0 division not allowed, you can see the output there. Okay, so guys, this is just a crash course on Python. I really created this video for someone who's coming from other programming languages and you just want to quickly get started with Python. So this is going to help you just to be familiar with Python as a language, but you do need to read other materials, watch other videos, you know, which are full complete courses on Python, but this will help you to just get started. So thank you. Have a blessed day.